Hi, this is Ken Torino, the president of K-TOR. In this video, we're going to go into a little more depth into setting up the power box. We have a video on setting up the power box, but we've had questions from customers, and actually what we're going to do is show you a bunch of little tricks that we use when we obviously test thousands of these things that would be helpful to customers. And so this is like a supplement to that video. We'd recommend that you see that video first, and then this will go into a little bit more detail on really how easy it is, but obviously it's all knowing the tricks on how to do things. There's clips here. Take the pedals out. 4 pins. Slide that around, take this pin out. The pin goes back in. And there you go, it's all set up. The last and most important thing is screwing it down. We design it so it's very, very light. And if you don't screw it down, you're going to have to pedal straight down to keep it stable. But we really recommend that you screw it down. This is a setup power box, and if you pull one pin down, you'll see that there's a hole there. And the purpose of that hole is actually so that you can screw it down. And that's one. So, I don't recommend you screw down the feet and then try and clip it in, because you'll have trouble clipping it in. So clip it in and then just pull back one pin at a time. And there we go. So you can see it can go up, get set up, and be taken down very quickly and easily. And that's what it was designed for. And there we go. That was easy. So the first step is taking the pedals off. There's a little clip here that holds these pedals down. So you just want to pull that back. Okay. The next step is pulling the pins out. Sometimes, the pins stick a little bit. And so what we'll do is we'll just put a little screwdriver in there and just wedge it a little bit so it gets free. So that's one of the tricks that we use that you should know about, right? This spins around. Next really important trick is one of the things that we do is when it's in the factory, we put a tiny bit of detergent as a lubricant on this pin to help the pin slide in there. This pin needs to be really tight, so you're going to want to put some force on that. But if you lubricate it, it's a lot easier. Okay. Now, the next thing, I usually put them with the plastic facing in so you don't slip and break them. You can see that there's 6 holes here, and there's 6 shapes here, and it's got to interlock. So the way I do it is I will seat the bottom ones first, right? You can see them right in there, and then just pull forward. Hear that little clip? That means it's on there, right? When it's seated properly, the pins go in pretty easily, and if it's seated properly, if they don't go in easily, you can use a little bit of force, but make sure it's seated properly. Same thing on the other side, and by the way, what you'll find is that generally the open side is a little bit harder than the main leg. Again, get these 3 holes lined up, and then just squeeze it and it'll click in place. Put those pins in. Now the locks on the pedals, they rotate, and the first thing you're going to want to do is you want to make sure that that pedal is seated on all the way. Don't whack at it, okay, without something holding this side, because there's a set screw holding the gear in here. You can tap on it if you've got something holding that side, right? And then I find it much easier to use my thumb and press on that wheel. And so when I do this one, I turn it around. A lot easier to push than it is to pull, and the same thing. See, didn't go in all the way, so I just tap it, and there we go. All right? Now, taking it apart, you know, same thing. You know, it's a lot easier to push with your thumb. You may need to lift back on that tab slightly if it'll lock it in place. Okay. Pull the pins out. Okay. It may not come right out, in which case, on this one right here, you can just pull it right out, right? On this one tends to be tighter, but this wall right here will flex. So you can pull that, and then it'll release that, okay? And then this, like I said, this will be fairly tight, but you'll want to lubricate that with a little bit of dishwashing soap, and I just kind of wiggled the thing out. It'll rotate around, put it back in. You see there's a little clip here to hold it in place, so it only should go in only one way. When we put these in, if they're on top, they tend to go in much easier. And so we'll put 3 of them on top. And then we'll put this one on the bottom so that this won't scrape the housing. Okay. When we designed this, we designed it, as you just saw, to go together and come apart very easily. And that's correct for the right, for the normal consumer, right? When you're in a museum environment where, you know, you've got a lot of people that may be using it and have not read the instructions, you don't want it to come apart easily, right? So the question is, what can you do to make sure that it doesn't come apart easily? So let me give you a couple of tips. First thing with the pins, right? You know, if you put the pins on top, right, someone could just yank them right out. You can tie wrap them down, and also you can put them underneath. And if you put them underneath, they're going to be tough to get out, right? Because they'll press against these plastic pieces here. So my recommendation in museum mode, as a minimum when you set it up, you know, make sure those pins will not come out easily. The pedals have locks on them, right? And what we try and do is there's one screw right here, and we can try and adjust it so that it won't move too easy or too hard, right? We don't want it to come unlocked on its own while you're pedaling, but we don't want you to have too hard a time. And the way we do that is we adjust this screw. So as you tighten that screw, it'll be harder to turn this. As you loosen, it'll be easier to turn this. So for a museum, one of the things that we would recommend is when you're done, putting this thing together, tighten down on this screw. And once you tighten down on the screw, this lock is not going to move. And then you don't have a problem with someone playing with them or in the process of pedaling it come off. And that way it's going to stay on there. Now, by the way, when you take it apart, you're going to have to loosen that screw.